Good morning, first grade. Well, I must tell you, I had a wonderful weekend as I had a very special birthday celebration and a special birthday parade and many cards that came in the mail. So thank you for all your wonderful birthday wishes. I can't wait to hear about the ones that you wrote down for me last week, too. So today we're going to start with thinking about our story from last week. And if we think back to it, who was our story about? Otaki. Poor Tatanka was at home sick, but Otaki was able to go and visit a friend. So we're going to do a picture of her journey. And I'm going to start by first drawing her path that she followed, and then we can show all the things along the path that she discovered. And I'll start here with her house. And then with a very light brown, I'm going to show her path, and it goes right down, and then up again, and down. And I'm going to leave it here with some space before the edge of the page, and you'll see why in a little bit. If you remember our story, you may remember why. So, what is the first thing that Otaki noticed along her journey? She first walked through a beautiful meadow filled with flowers. Now, she picked a couple different kinds of flowers. Do you remember how many different colors of flowers she chose? Do you remember 3 different colors? She chose yellow daisies and purple violets and red poppies. So we're going to show those flowers, but how many of each flower did she choose? Did you say 4 of each? Because then you are correct. So you may use your block or your stick crayon to draw these. Now, when I'm drawing my flowers, I'm going to draw them right next to the path here. But I want to think about leaving a little space because we are not finished with this drawing today. We're going to draw all the things Otaki saw, but then tomorrow we'll take our pencils and we'll add the number sentences that go with what she discovered. But let's first draw her flowers. I have my violet. Then I need my red. And then I need my yellow. I'm going to do my drawing a little more quickly today than I usually would. So I won't put quite as much care into it as I'm sure you will. I'm sure your violets will be beautiful and your flowers may have stems, perhaps some grass growing around them. And you could show the individual petals if you like, if you know your flowers well. So she's following along the path, and what did she come to next? She came to the river. So let's put the river onto the drawing. And what did she spy by the river? What creature? Some beavers. So we can draw our beaver busily working, and then we can draw what he was working with. And what Otaki noticed. She saw that the beavers were chewing on those trees. And how many trees did she see were chewed? Well, she saw there were some on each side of the river. How many were on one side and how many on the other? If you remembered 6 on one side and 6 on the other, you have quite a memory. So I'm going to draw those 6 trees. My trees are young saplings still. I'll add just a little bit of green growing on them. Now, as she continued on her journey, what did she see next? She saw a tall tree with what? It wasn't necessarily what she saw, but what she heard. She heard the chirping of some little, or one little chick. So we may draw the tree and add how many nests, for she discovered some nests. You remember how many? 2 nests. And how many eggs were in those nests? There were 5 in each. How many does that make altogether? 5 eggs in each nest is how many eggs? Yes, 10. Here's my tree. And I'll add some very light green. And I will add my 2 little brown nests. Now we are showing some very fine detail here. I'm going to use my blue to show 5 little eggs in each nest. If you would like to show that little chick she heard peeping, you may show that too. So now, when she saw another meadow, and along the side of the road, she saw something moving and heard another quiet sound. Yes, she saw what creature? Some snakes. I'm going to give them a little bit of grass here, and then draw some snakes. And how many should I draw laying out in the sunshine? There were quite a few to start with. How many were there at the beginning? Do you remember? If you remembered 11, you were right. And then some were frightened and slithered away to their hole. How many slithered back to their hole? If you remembered 6, you were correct. So we will show 5 in the sunshine and 5 shyly peeking up out of their hole. 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's their little hole. I will show those 6 peeking up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You may want to give them some long grass to hide in as well. Now, she saw a few more things on her journey before she arrived at her friend's home. What did she see next? Well, I think she stopped because she had a grumbling tummy. And what did she munch on? Some delicious berries. Yes. So let's show her berries in her hand. Now, how many berries did she have altogether? She had quite a few. How many were Well, now she had 12 berries, but should I draw 12 in her hand? Because they didn't stay in her hand. She only kept how many for herself? Well, that shouldn't be my first question. If she had 12, how many friends did she have to share with? She had 3 little friends come, and who were they? They were squirrels. So we'll show 3 little squirrel friends, and then how she shared her berries. So let me show the squirrels. I'll show them in brown, even though often they're gray. And they have very curly tails. Now, I hope you've been thinking, if she shared those berries evenly, how many did they each get? 12 berries, 3 friends and herself, so shared into 4 portions, 3 for each of them. And the very last thing that she spotted before she arrived at her friend's home was due to her eagle eyes, for she saw the sun catching some sparkles and some shining down on the ground, and she spotted some stones, some very special stones she wanted to bring her friend. So we'll first show the black stones she spotted. How many of those do you remember? She spotted 3 black ones. 1, 2, 3. And then she spotted some that had quite a sparkle. And I'm going to draw those golden, maybe a sparkle of purple. How many? How many of those did she choose and pick up? 4. And the last thing that she saw that she just couldn't resist picking up were some with stripes. I'm going to draw them light brown with a black stripe. And then she arrived at her friend's house. Oh, wait, you say, there's something else that I'm missing? What did she see before she got there? And what did she count as she arrived? If you remembered the steps, the stone steps, then you were correct. And that's exactly why I've left this space at the edge of the page. For the last thing we're going to draw today are the steps up to her friend's house. I'll choose my brown, and let's see. She was so excited, she jumped on every other step. So she jumped on every 2 steps. And she noticed that she stepped 7 times she put her foot down. How many steps were there altogether? Let's count it out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and that's 7 footsteps, and 17 actual, or 14 actual steps. So let's show those 14 steps. I'm going to do mine very small. So let's see if we can fit them in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh my goodness, we will have to do quite tiny steps. And then I'm going to take my purple and put a little mark on each step that she stepped on so every other one. Almost like she blessed it when she stepped on it. Let's see. So you should have how many little purple marks, or whatever color you would like to put. Yes, you will have 7 different marks. So, when we have finished, our picture will look like this. I'll send a photo of that too. However, keep it handy because tomorrow we'll get out our pencils and we'll put some number sentences on about what Otaki saw. Now, I just have a few other things to tell you about what you could work on today. So we talked about Otaki's story and her journey and drew a very nice picture, and I can't wait to see your work in your books. But you could play also some number games today with your family. So the first thing you can do is put your number line up on the wall. It's time. So find a space and you can hang it right about at your eye level so that you can look and point and use that number line. And then I send home a couple questions to practice. So what happens if you count up 5 or count down 5? What happens if you count up 2 and count down 2? And maybe we'll see some patterns as you do that practice. The next thing that you could begin today is to make some number cards. And I want these number cards to be able to be felt. I want us to practice closing our eyes and feeling some numbers. And we could use them for games too. So if you'd like, you could use liquid glue and put it onto a card. You may use our thick paper I send home or note cards. Now, if you don't have liquid glue, you could use the glue stick that I sent and the yarn. And here I made what number? The number 3. And I just glued down some yarn with my glue stick. But now I could close my eyes and feel that number. And we could also use it for some other games too. Now, one of the games that I would like to play, I'm going to play with you right now. And I sent the instructions as well. So if you'd like, you could pause the video and play this with your parents instead. If you want to stick around, we can play just a little bit and try it out. Now, after your morning lesson work today, there's some new sight words for this week, some of our memory words. So practice those memory words. And instead of Miss Link today reading them to you, your parents are going to read you the 5 that we were especially practicing last week. And then you'll carefully write them down. And if you get them right, when you write them down, you can put them in your morning lesson book, the back of your words morning lesson book. It's the last thing we'll be doing. Just keep it handy to keep filling up your memory bank. Now, if there were any that you didn't quite get right, that just says keep practicing. So take those out of the deck and practice those a little more until they're ready to move in, and then go ahead and move them. So this game is called Heads Down, Heads Up. Now, if we were in the classroom, I would have everyone put their heads down on their desks, cover up their eyes. But guess what? I can just move. So I'm going to move, and you're not going to see how many rings I do. You can close your eyes if you like, because it may help. So just listen. How many do you hear? How many? Did you say 3? Good. Let's do another one. How many do you hear? That got a little bit quiet. I'm going to do that one more time, nice and loud. Ready? Did you hear 6? I'm going to do one more. Listen carefully. How many did you count? If it was 9, you are right. Now, let's try it a little differently. I'm going to play 2 different notes, and you count them both. So, heads down, or just listen carefully. How many did you hear all together? 5. Let's do another one. Did you hear 4? You were right. One more. How many was that all together? 10. All right, now here's 2 challenges. I'm going to give you 3 numbers and see if you can keep counting up. Here we go. Did you hear all of those? I'm going to do it one more time. Listen carefully. It was 10. All right, one more challenge. Let's listen. No, I lost count. Oh no. Let's do that one again. Even teachers make mistakes sometimes. Let's listen together. Did you get 8 that time? I did. Well, that was a fun new game, and I hope you enjoyed it. And you can play more of that at home. You can use a musical instrument yourself. You can have your siblings play it with you or your parents. So have some fun, and I hope you have a wonderful day.